Miami.
Miami Heat, Miami Heat, Miami Heat, Miami Heat, Miami Heat, Miami Heat,
Miami.
Miami Heat, Miami Heat, Miami Heat, Miami Heat, Miami Heat, Miami Heat.
It feels like Miami.
Welcome to the Heat Beat Podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas, and with me today, it's just Kenny. What's up, Kenny?
What's up? What's going on, man? Great time. Great win last night, man. Looking forward to talking about that. Real interesting stuff.
Today's a show completely dedicated to last night, how we feel about it, and how that colors our perception of the season. I had a date tonight that I canceled because this was so important. I told her, listen, I need to spread Kyle Lowry propaganda. You know, us getting drinks at the Sunset can wait. We could do that another day. The Sunset will be here tomorrow. You know, I gotta start my propaganda early. Playoffs are about to start. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for the patronage. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. A lot of people who watch us on YouTube regularly are not subscribed. Click that subscribe button. It helps us a ton. It helps us grow, and it helps us keep doing what we're doing. If you are subscribed, then you will have noticed that Needle to the Groove, Siobhan's brand new breakdown show, is on our YouTube page as well. It's streamed here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Miami Heat Beat. It's streamed on Tuesday following Frankie and my interview of Coach David Thorpe, the great Coach Thorpe. So we have lots of content, tips, mixed bag. You know, that's also on YouTube and also right here on Twitch. That also gets posted to the pod feed. Needle to the Groove will not, because it's a visual medium. It's not smooth listening. You know what I mean? It's more of an interactive media thing. So check it out on YouTube. Check it out on Twitch. Check out all our platforms. And if you're a pod listener, you know, rate and review. And we love you. And the reason why we do anything is because of pod listeners. By the way, shout out to you guys. We raised over $1,500, close to $2,000 last night for Basket for Babies. Incredible work by you guys. This community comes out strong for everything we do, including that. So we really appreciate that and love you guys. And the last announcement at the top of the show, our watch party is set, Kenny. The first watch party of this season. We have our first post-COVID watch party, April 10th at Duffy's in North Miami. Check that out. North Miami, Duffy's. It's by the water. It's beautiful. Christian Hernandez may or may not pull up on his boat. We don't know yet, but that's a possibility. We're also kind of celebrating Alf's birthday. And shout out to G Smooth 14 for the Prime sub, saying MHB is the best Miami Heat podcast. We appreciate that kind of love and patronage. If you have Amazon Prime, check the link in the chat because you get a free subscription. You get access to all our emotes and no commercials. So Duffy's, April 10th, time TBD against the Orlando Magic. Adam Silver, for some reason, doesn't know what time that game's going to be. So we'll see, but as soon as we know, we'll tell you. And we're going to be out there. I'm going to be out there. Alf's going to be out there. Brass Jazz is flying down. Brian Goins may drive down if he likes us enough. Who knows? Siobhan may come down. Kenny, are you going to be here?
I'll definitely be there. I'm not too far from North Miami Beach. I actually went there last time when Alf was there. I've never been to a watch party. I'm excited about that. But, yeah, I mean, I've been to that Duffy's plenty of times.
Let's go. Okay, so we're going to have a good time. If you want to meet us, somebody said on Twitter that they're going to bring a jersey signed by all of us. So that might be fun. So let's just come. We'll do goofy shit. We'll take pictures. We'll talk Heat. We'll enjoy the last game of the regular season together. We will be doing a live Hangover Time on site as well. It's Mac Pro asked in chat, will you guys be recording? Yeah, we're going to bring our equipment. We're going to do live Hangover Time. We may do some shit with fans. Who knows? But you guys are going to get a live hot right there at Duffy's, poolside, all that good stuff. All right. Long enough. Kenny, they beat the Celtics last night in a way that I think is the way that makes us most comfortable. They did it late. Yeah. They did it with their offense and their defense. And, you know, Jimmy was in flow of offense. Jimmy was not forcing anything last night. He looked great. Nobody went beyond their role, which I think is when the Heat are at their best. Nobody did too much. And whoever had the hot hand, they let cook. Kyle clearly had it going. You know, they went to him. You know, that little that little Bam Lowry handoff on the left side of the floor, whether that's, for a shot or kind of get into the basket. That was it. But Kenny, they won that game late. And after everything that we've talked about the last week and a half, after the fight, after everything that's happened, when they lost the number 1 seed for a day, they've only lost the 1 seed for a day. That's mind you.
So they've been the 1 seed since what, December?
I saw it was
Pretty
like
much.
I think 144 days as the 1 seed or some shit, like something crazy. I don't know. But yeah, Kenny, they did it late, and to me that matters more than anything.
Yeah, and they did a lot of stuff in these last 2 games we hadn't really seen this season. They changed the way they run the offense late in games. Actually ran the offense late in the game first and foremost. We're starting to see the Jimmy pull-ups. We're starting to see Kyle shoot more, which you've been paying attention to the Raptors more than I have. I spoke to Raptors fans. They said he typically does that gearing up for playoffs. He'll start to shoot more and get into his rhythm. And we're seeing Spo with the rotations. We're seeing all kinds of different looks, more pick and rolls now. And so I think these are things they've been working on behind the scenes that they wanted to, Spo likes to surprise guys in the playoffs with new looks. And so I think now we're going to really see what this Heat team is about. They've been the 1 seed for however many days, like you said, but now we're going to really see their full potential. And I'm really excited about that.
Kyle is typically a guy, and we can get into some Kyle stuff now. Kyle's typically a guy that he gears up, and we've seen this with the Raptors. And I was on a Twitter Spaces today, and shout out, listen, Twitter Spaces are cool, man. A lot of people talking about a lot of cool shit, but I want to give a shout out to my homie Jay at Just in Shock SHOC. Hosts a lot of Heat Twitter Spaces. Yesterday was really fun. Sean for the Heat was there too, co-hosting. But we talked about kind of this exact thing. Lowry, in the season where they traded DeMar for Kawhi, Raptors fans thought Kyle was protesting Masai because he was not shooting a lot that season, and they thought it was his way of like saying, well, I'm pissed, I don't like this, blah blah blah. And in reality, it was him kind of pacing himself and his body because he didn't have to do so much with Kawhi. Made sure that he got everyone into the offense, and that was his role. Chat saying Tim's in the Hall of Fame. I know Tim Hardaway's in the Hall of Fame. We're gonna get to that. We're starting with the Heat in first place. Okay, we're gonna get to Timmy. We're gonna get to Timmy in the Hall. But we're talking right now about the Heat, in first place. So don't worry, chat. We're gonna get to Timmy. We're gonna celebrate, the Hardaway. But yeah, Kenny. So he's a guy that ramps up. I think the shooting aggression is the thing that you see most. I think you've seen at times he has a bit more motor going to the basket. I think we're seeing that more lately. And I think more than anything, he's looking for a shot when things look bogged down and they need that other playmaker in those situations.
Yeah. I've seen him. He's also, because coming into the season, I expected him to be like a drop killer. And so I didn't know he geared up like that towards the playoff. And now we saw that these past few games, teams decided to drop. He run, okay, I'll run the pick and roll. I'll pull up for 3. I don't mind. Fuck it. Because I do remember him as a Raptor to killing the Heat with that and his pull-up threes. And so I was kind of wondering where that was all season, but now I know for sure, hey, he's just gearing up for the playoffs. And so, man, definitely looking forward to that. I wish we could start the playoffs right now.
So they have like legitimately a guy off ball, a guy on ball that can do stuff with Bam and pick and roll. That is just huge for them. And I thought Jimmy played his off ball role really well. Aggressive cutting, constantly moving, not standing in a weak side corner, which just doesn't really help their offense. And these are really simple things that I think it's a generic basketball thing to talk about. You got to move, you got to cut. But truly, when you're a non-shooter like that, you need to be active. You need to be screening. You need to be moving. You need to be screening for other shooters on the other side of the floor. So if Kyle and Bam are running a two-man game on the left side, you need to set a screen for Max to him to come off because you need to occupy defense because that's an easy pass if Max beats a guy off a screen and Jimmy's rolling. You need that kind of movement, especially when you're Kyle and you're trying to you're really trying to grift your way. So that part to me, Kenny, was great. Obviously, Lowry's aggression. Let's talk about their fourth quarter kind of defense because Strus was in the game again, and we've seen how that has gone sideways for them when guys like Tyler and Strus played together. And
Mhm.
Jason Tatum tried to go at Strus, and I thought Miami did a good job of helping off Derek White, helping off Marcus Smart, collapsing, sending 2 into the paint, contesting at the rim, whether it's Jaylen Brown on the drive or whoever. They're jumping, they're contesting, they're playing hard, and they're swarming. And I think that was just really encouraging that, they could just really survive some of their guys getting attacked.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's what I've been saying. Oh, and Coach Thorpe, he's incredible. He's articulated it way more than I have been, obviously. But yeah, that's why I'm not too concerned with guys getting hunted, because the rest of the defenders are so great at rotations and bringing the help and getting back out to the 3-point line, whatever the case is. It tends to not be that big of a deal when a guy does get hunted. Even in, let's say, the Sixer game where Tyler was getting hunted, a lot of those scores on those plays were jumpers, and were jumpers that were kind of tough. And we saw that yesterday again. Max, he did a great job. He made some big plays, although he's not consistently a great defender. So I understand why the Celtics attacked him. But he knew he had the support, so he was able to sell out and go full force with the defense. He was able to slide his feet, give a full effort, and understand if he did get beat, if whatever may have happened, guys had his back. And so that's how we ended up seeing the defensive performance out of him.
I thought particularly like just the stuff at the rim by Strus and Lowry, who are now your rim defenders. And I want to take people back to a time when Miami didn't really have an athletic shot blocker. They were playing, Jamal McGlure and whatever was left of Jermaine O'Neal and all these, and Udonis, right? Like, Udonis in 2010, who's not, a shot blocker by any means. And what Spo would do was they said, all right, Dwayne, you're going to be our weak side shot blocker. You can cover enough ground that you can be on the corner shooter. You can help on the drive. And if you have to, you need to come up and contest at the rim. And it's kind of wacky that how ahead of his time he was doing that. Because, I mean, obviously he saw Dwayne's ability and he's like, look what this guy can do. I can use him as a rim protector and as a guy to kind of play out on the shooters and close out. He's that fast. So Miami's doing some of that with Jimmy a lot. They're having Jimmy come in and help. Jimmy's not the shot blocker that Dwayne was, but Jimmy's coming as a help defender, flying in, disrupting shit. Lowry is doing that as well. Again, not as a shot blocker, but they're like, all right, we're going to keep, if we're going to downsize a little bit and if we're going to have Bam switching and we want Bam on the ball, we need to have these other guys be rotating quick, right, early, and contesting hard. And I think at times you saw guys like Gabe are a little too small. We saw some of that early, and that's what I don't like. But if you come in numbers and if you come early and if you help off bad shooters like they did yesterday, Derek White, Marcus Smart, right, those guys that you live with, Tice, if they hit shots, you live with it. That to me is a huge recipe for preventing stuff at the rim when their best players get hunted.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I do want to point out to whoever the audience may be today. When we think of rim protection, we typically think shot blocking, and that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes you can not be a great shot blocker, and you can just get in position and prevent the guy from scoring. So Draymond Green's a guy who's great at that. And so Kyle, yeah, he's short, but he is stocky. So if you do try to get past him, he can get a body on you and trying to throw off your balance. He will also take a charge. And that's also what Jimmy's been doing. He's also great at getting strips. He just throwing the offensive player's rhythm off, and that's enough sometimes. And yesterday we saw that work out.
Yeah, it's just their coaching is at such a high level, and their creativity is so great, and all these guys have buy-in, and I think that's why you saw kind of everybody defend Spo in that scrum, right? Like they have buy-in top to bottom, and they. Kenny, a lot of dudes come in, and we've heard a lot of stories of players bumping heads with Spo. That's not that's not uncommon, right? But whenever dudes leave here, they love him, right?
Yeah.
They believe in him.
And
they believe in him.
Yeah, and all those guys will tell you, like, Spo actually. That's why that whole argument wasn't a huge deal to me that whole time, because everybody who has played for Spo and loves him, they said the thing they love most about him is that you can talk to him in that way. He'll talk back to you that way. but he will consider what you were saying, and it will be a real conversation, and you're going to come to a resolution that helps the team.
Jimmy must have said some flagrant shit though, because like everybody was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But credit to Gogi came in and said that's normal, and D Wade
So
is
did
like,
D-Wade.
that's a Tuesday. He went on TNT, and Shaq is like, yeah, that's. I wasn't even coached by Spo, but yeah, like that's how things are there. No, everybody everybody that has been in those practices and in those locker rooms, and when they're on TV or they're just like, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, you guys, it's just, listen, shit happens. Like, that's who we are. And maybe, it's just the brotherhood protecting the brotherhood, but I don't know. If all those dudes aren't concerned, I'm not.
I don't think so, though, because looking at the body language of everybody else, nobody was shocked or like.
Dog,
really...
Shaq will slander anybody. Shaq will slander anybody for money.
And Shaq left him on bad terms too, so it's not like he
doesn't even know Spo. I mean, I guess Spo is an assistant, but he probably didn't even know Spo's name when he worked in So man, that's just funny. Shout out to Twisted Tapioca for the gifted tier 1 to Slump and Slobinson. It's still a funny name. I met Twisted the other day. We went with Miami Heat UK to Sugar in Brickell. That's fine. Have you been to Sugar, Kenny?
Nah.
That's a good date spot.
That's it every day though.
That's a great date spot. You go to Sugar. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Somebody will fall in love with you. I promise. That's pro tip to chat. You may pay $20 a drink, but it's worth it.
Damn.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Brickell, man. What are you expecting?
Yeah, when you said Brickell, that was the first thing I thought. Like, oh, y'all out there spending money for real.
So Alex asked in chat, Troppy Baby G, what'd you think of the shot profile that the Heat allowed? I think that they're I mean, obviously, like, Tatum is a different kind of player than Tyrese Maxey and then Kevin Durant, obviously, and all these guys. He wants to get. He was trying to get to the basket last night, and which. It's good, right? And I think when guys try to go to the basket against players like that and a team like Boston, Miami's like, I'm going to let you shoot corner threes. I'm going to let you shoot these threes. So Tatum's coming at the rim, and they're sending a bunch of help, and that's kind of really indicative of their defensive principle. So the shot profile that they allow is a lot of threes, a lot of corner threes. And, Jalen and Tatum sprung open for some layups, but they sent a lot of help. That was not the shots that they wanted to give up in those situations because guys came in and helped and contested the shots at the rim. But, that just really falls in line with who they are defensively. The shot profile that they took, a lot of threes, a lot of jumpers, not a lot at the rim. If you want to be nitpicky, Kenny, you can say, I don't really think Miami got anything at the rim that they wanted, and Bam was kind of a non-factor on offense other than as a screener. Late, you might want a little bit more of Bam kind of getting to the rim. So, I mean, I guess those are my only nitpicky things of kind of their shot profile on both ends, but how you feel?
So about the Heat's offense, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because it's something I noticed I wanted to go into that game because I thought it would be a Bam game, so I watched Bam closely, and I don't want to keep repeating myself about the aggression thing, but sometimes guys just have to find them. And so what I saw in the first half mainly is that they'll run a pick and roll or a handoff, and they'll get the guard out of the play. They'll create the 2-on-1 it's supposed to create, and then they'll force the help, and Bam will be open, but they'll shoot instead of pass to him. And so sometimes it's just those little things where it seems like Bam's not doing much offensively, but he's just not necessarily being helped as far as getting in rhythm. And so I'm not too mad at him for yesterday, especially I'm never mad after a win regardless, but I do want to see guys start to find him more in his spots when he has it, because he has it really often, whether it's in the dunker spot or the dotted line. He's open really, really often. Yeah,
for sure. Alex said in chat, Celtics took almost 2.5 times as many rim attempts as the Heat last night. Yeah, and that's a product of a switching defense, and that's kind of the concern we've all had, especially on the road. And I thought most of Miami's attempts at the rim came from deadman slips, and it's really, Kenny, what we've talked about all year. How do they beat a switching defense? You got especially a Celtic defense that not only switches, but they play everyone up a little high, except for Tice because he's Tice. You got to slip behind the defense, and you got to force their rotational man to come help. Without Rob, without Time Lord, that help is smaller and slower. That's Grant Williams now, right? Because the Heat are manipulating the floor so that Marcus Smart's not that help man from the corner, right? And credit to Spo, credit to the Heat for doing that. But when they can get something to the rim, it was pretty easy. It was off Deadman cuts, layups. It was off slips. It was off stuff like that. A lot of it wasn't Jimmy breaking down the defense. Some of it was Kyle Grift. Some of it was Tyler throwing up some floater nonsense, which, by the way, that wins you playoff games. I know that sometimes like you watch that go in and you're just like, not a great shot, guys, and you're right. But, not great shots wins you playoff games. And you need guys to hit not great shots because the Heat are filled with dudes that can hit easy shots. What they lack is guys who can hit the tough shots, right? And Tyler's one of those guys. So, I thought that was kind of exactly how that game would play out and how a series like that would play out. And there are going to be days when Miami's not hitting the three well, Kenny, that, it's going to look really ugly. And, they're really, in series like that, their shooters and the ability for Jimmy to hunt mismatches is really going to be, how the series is decided.
Yeah, and so I mainly wanted to see how they were going to beat the Celtics defense yesterday. And whether the Celtics dropped or they switched, the Heat just found different ways. Like you said, with the switching, there was the slips. And now Jimmy is hitting that mid-range jumper. And so let's say he runs a pick and roll. Now he's comfortable pulling up with that. And I don't know about you, but when he shot those, I thought they were going in.
Jimmy?
And so
They look, because they were in rhythm.
Yeah, they were in rhythm. And so it's a pretty different feeling around Jimmy now, at least for me, as far as the jumper goes. And so the Celtics were the only team I was worried about. And after yesterday, even if they had lost that game, just me seeing how the Heat can manipulate their defense and create opportunities for themselves, I'm like, okay, they're not as scary as I thought they were. And so now I'm not scared of anybody.
The Williams thing really changes stuff because he is the size that gives their defense the bite that it does. I mean, their defense is good regardless. And really, I'm sure that, that's kind of the game that they expect to play as well. But, just the Rob Williams and the size just absolutely changes that series. But he's not there. And my thing is also Boston may have to play Milwaukee in the second round. And if Miami I think Miami securing first place is huge. I don't care about the Nets. I don't care if they play the Nets in the first round. I don't care. You ought to avoid the Celtics, and you got to make sure the Celtics and the Bucks play each other. That's, to me, that's all you care about. Because the two teams that should scare you, if you're Miami, are those, of course, as right on cue, baby, are those two teams. I wonder how the pod audience experiences that. I don't know how they do, but for the pod audience, my camera just randomly goes out at times. I don't know why, but if you're Miami, you want Boston and Milwaukee to play each other because those are the two teams that legitimately threaten you, and maybe Toronto. But those are really the teams that can beat you. Brooklyn, I don't know if you're. I mean, Brooklyn's defense is so bad. I mean, a G League Portland team
and really, Kyrie hasn't been playing that well since he's been able to play home games either. He's been fine, but he's not.
No, I mean, they're good. Listen. I'm not going to say that you voluntarily want to play Kevin Durant. And by the way, they may be the 8 seed, bro. Are you gonna really pick Cleveland over them in a play-in game? Come on, no. They're gonna be the 7 seed.
Yeah.
And if they lose to Cleveland, then are you really scared?
Absolutely not, especially without Jared Allen, and I think Evan Mobley's out now too.
Yeah, which they might fall to 8th. So I mean, then that's really a fire drill because I mean, if Charlotte can catch up, that's a cozy matchup you want if you're Miami. You know what I mean? Get that Charlotte matchup at 8. So we'll see. A lot of interesting things to consider as the playoffs. I think there's 5 games left, right, Kenny? About 5. So. Yeah, there's about 5. They play the Bulls on Saturday. Honestly, another game that you got to win all these games. I mean, you've dropped enough. You dropped a lot of the easy ones with Stars sat, and you got to win all these games. I'm not saying they're all must win, but it's as close to a must win as you can get considering their playoff positioning and stuff like that. Last thing I want to talk about is I really think that I really think that Tyler in these kind of matchups is really interesting because He plays well against the Raptors for some reason, which I don't get, and against the Celtics he doesn't. And they deploy similar kind of problems to Miami. And yesterday, I mean, I thought even Pritchard did a good job on Tyler, which to me is kind of inexcusable. You got to lose him, and I think like something that Duncan does is he changes directions really well. And I think that's the one thing he does off the ball better than Tyler. I mean, he does a lot of things off the ball better than Tyler, but like specifically, like if he's coming off a screen and if the guy's doing a good job coming over, he's so good at changing directions without stopping. And that guy, he leaves that guy in the dust as Bam or whoever pitches it. Tyler has to do a little more of that because I think his movement off ball is a little simplified. Pritchard was able to kind of fight over screens and stay with him. He was a bit of a non-factor for a lot of the game, and for them to be good, they need to fire on all cylinders. Well, I mean, I meant last night, Christian, that I don't think he played well, and I don't think I don't think he got the looks he particularly wanted. He hit a couple, got a couple threes, but I just don't think that he had the impact that you really expect from him, especially at the level that he's been playing at. But yeah, Kenny, I just think it's interesting that, he does play well against the Raptors who, again, deploy a similar kind of length switch. And that's the one thing I don't know if we have an answer to yet in the playoffs. What is Tyler going to look like when they switch someone a big wing on ball? That's the thing I want to know.
Yeah. I don't even know where to put that because he hasn't been great in that situation, but he has been better than he has been in
He was
recent
5
years,
for 14 last
years.
night, by the way, Chad. He was 5 for 14, 2 of 6 from 3.
Which is just really not great. I'm not gonna excuse that at all. But yeah. But the thing with Tyler that's interesting is he does tend to, as weird as it may sound, he does a little bit of other things at times when his shot's not falling. He did manage to get 10 rebounds at some point. I didn't see any of those, but congratulations to him on that. And so the only thing I want from Tyler is to not force it when he does.
They got out-rebounded.
This is one thing to not be making it.
They got out-rebounded by the Celtics,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty inexcusable.
Yeah, they should probably look into that, but I'm fine with it. They won. But yeah, with Tyler, my only thing is because at times when his shot's not falling, he starts to press and start to force really bad shots. And he did that a little bit yesterday. And so I want him to stay away from that. So as long as he recognizes early that he doesn't have it, or at least keep shooting, but shoot quality shots. Yesterday he shot some real questionable stuff. That's more so what I'm concerned with rather than him struggling. Just when you are struggling, because that is going to happen with a volume scorer, just don't kill the team with it. Just still continue to keep your IQ
from
and
chat.
smart with it.
I can be your hero. Christian says Tyler's been turning that corner like a motherfucker this season on some good defenders too. Absolutely, something I didn't think he'd be able to do.
Yeah.
Twisted Tapioca says I like Tyler getting stuff on the margins like he did last night when he can't get into his bag, which was our point. I think Twisted, we said that before you got on that. Tough shots win playoff games, right? And they need tough shot makers like him, to hit those floaters, to hit those uncomfortable looks, when he doesn't really have, his easy stuff going. Twisted always says Kenny is nailing it. As you do. Killing the game, Kenny.
Man. I can't even lie. Like, I'm probably shouldn't say this on air, but I feel like my weakness is the X's and O's stuff. And so I kind of know it a little bit. Something I want to get better at. And so sometimes I'm a little insecure about it.
No, you do great. You do great. The people love you. It's good stuff. Kenny, I feel like that was, and I said this on Hangover Time last night, and I said it on WAP earlier, but right before the game. This is the kind of game that changes your season, because when your season is teetering at the edge of disaster, I mean, it was DEFCON 1. Losing to the Knicks at home without Julius Randle, following a non-court fight between your players and coaches, losing to the Warriors without all their good players, losing to the Sixers without Harden and Embiid. That is DEFCON 1. And then getting your ass embarrassed on national TV, NBA TV. I don't know if you count that national. It's like baby national TV.
Yeah.
Getting embarrassed by Brooklyn, getting absolutely destroyed in the game that we all thought, they're good, so they'll get this game, and they did it, and it was DEFCON 1, Kenny. It was full blown. I don't know anymore, and they got the Kings. That's a get well win. against a Kings team without De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. Spo said that's exactly the team we want to play. They compete. Yeah, I'm sure that's what you meant, Spo. Then they go into Boston, into a place that is tough to win for anybody, and historically for Miami. And they go into that game, and they play. They don't have a fluky blowout win. They played a hard-nosed, really good fucking basketball game from two really good, well-coached teams. And they came out on top, specifically in crunch time, which is their biggest weakness. And by the way, the Celtics crunch time is woof. Jason Tatum is one of the worst crunch time players in the league. So, and I think they posted the stat. I think StatMuse or somebody posted how bad he's been compared to the rest of the league.
Muse.
Huh?
That page is Hater Muse.
Hater views. They're, sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're just like, it's too much.
Yeah, yeah.
I do like when they slander players I don't like when they slander James Harden. Who came up with the nickname Brick Ross?
I don't know, but that's an amazing name.
Brick Ross might be one of the funniest fucking things I've ever read on this app. I mean, that's... I know that, and Doe said it last night on Hangover Time. Sometimes we all like, oh, this app is toxic. This app is stupid. This app, Twitter's some of the fucking funniest shit I've ever seen in my life is on Twitter. Mm-hmm. That sure, Oscar night with all the fucking Will Smith show. Now, we ran it into the ground in 3 hours. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, bro, Kenny, I thought the Pac jokes were out of pocket. They were funny, but I wasn't going to retweet them. But they were funny.
Yeah, no, it was amazing night, man.
Amazing night for Twitter. Amazing night for the Heat last night. We got to talk Timmy in the Hall, and then
we still haven't gotten to you was mentioning what that game meant for the team.
Yeah, no, that it's just like a turn your season around game. It's like, you're teetering on the edge of disaster. It's DEFCON 1. You go into a tough place to play and you win in the area where they suck, and you did it, in convincing fashion. And that I don't think they needed to show themselves as much. I think they needed to show themselves a little bit, and they showed us, and that's a kind of confidence win. And maybe I'm all wrong. Maybe they get their ass kicked by the Bulls and we're back at it. They lose 2 straight and we're back at it. But I asked you guys in the chat a week ago, how would you feel if they win the Boston game? And I think most people said it doesn't do much for me. I got to see what you do after. Well, they won the Boston game, which is, the one matchup I think we all thought they would lose. If they, win out or lose one game the rest of the way, I think you take that, secure the 1 seed. You got it back. You're a game up on Milwaukee. I don't know. It's just they're up to 50. They're up to 49 wins. They're gonna get to 50 wins hopefully, soon, which is just a great accomplishment for any team to get to 50 wins. It's not an easy thing to do in this league, especially how competitive the East has been this year. So, congratulations to Spo and the coaching staff and all the players who that's a big accomplishment. It hasn't. Huh?
Oh, I was gonna say. So the thing I do want to point out is you kind of have to feel good about that though, because when you think about every team you might be a little scared of, whether it's Milwaukee, whether it's Boston, whether it's Toronto, Brooklyn, Cleveland, whoever, they've all had stretches in the season where they didn't look great, where they looked pretty bad actually. Except Milwaukee was struggling a little bit, but
Milwaukee was the 10th seed in December. You know what I mean? Or
and that's the thing we have to keep in mind, is that NBA seasons for every team and every player have their ebbs and flows. And so for the Heat's roughest stretch to be 4 games, and then they come out, they beat the Kings, which, okay, I looked at different stuff rather than the talent level, but if you want to say, okay, it's the Kings though, and then they go out, they beat the team that's their biggest threat, and they had no real issues with them, you have to feel amazing about that.
I do. I mean, like I said, it's a correct your season kind of win for them that I think is just an incredible accomplishment. Timmy Hardaway in the Hall of Fame. You love to see it. Run DMC, Miami legend. Well deserved. I don't know whether he took so long because of some of the comments he made on Le Batard a few years ago, which
that's exactly why.
Which he did. He paid a lot for, and I think that he genuinely repented for and learned from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, cancel culture is not real because Louis C.K. is still doing comedy shows and Dave Chappelle's a millionaire. That stuff's not real. Donald Trump was elected president. None of that. He said he'd grab a woman by the bleep, and it was on tape, and nobody gave a shit. But for a guy like him to do legitimate work in the queer community here in South Florida is, I think that matters more than anything. I do think he's genuinely changed, which is, I think that's all you want from situations like that. I don't think maybe some people do want to just tear you down and keep you down, but I think ultimately the reason why people get so mad is because this world is a horrible place for so many people, especially gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, anybody in the LGBT community. And it's just frustrating when people in power say horrible, awful, disgusting things, and you are made to once again fear for your life, as we have legislation here in South Florida and Florida with this fucking goofball. Right? Shout out to the Orlando Pride, by the way, wearing shirts that say gay as they enter the stadium and play their game. So all that to be said is that I thought Timmy really came out the other side, became a better person, and I think it's very well deserved. As a basketball player, he deserves it. I'm very happy that Hall of Fame is going to be under his jersey in the arena. That's going to make almost all of them Bosh, Shaq, Alonzo, Timmy, and we know that D Wade's next. And Kenny, that's going to be a fucking day for us. It's great. Happy for Timmy.
Yeah. I wish I weren't as indifferent as I am, because obviously,
we're younger though.
Yeah. Well, no. So I call because my dad took me to the first Zoe Summer Groove. I've been like a Heat fan since then, like 4 years old. So
do they still do that?
Nah, they stopped it a few years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say that used to be a staple. What happened? Yeah.
Yeah. So those Tim and Zoe teams do mean a lot to me, and obviously I've been a Heat fan that long. Tim Hardaway on court does deserve the Hall of Fame, and I am happy for him. I don't know how I feel about openly celebrating for myself. Now, I'm not raining on anybody's parade. I don't care. Hey, I understand why you're happy. Be happy. I wish I could. But it's just a little complicated for me because it's just not my place to say he's done enough. It's not. It's
that's
also
true.
Not my place to say
no.
he hasn't.
That's a great point, Kenny. And
it's also not my place to say he hasn't. And so
that's totally fair.
I don't know. And so that stuff I'm staying out of. Now, as far as the basketball stuff, absolutely, he's been deserved basketball wise, but it is a little complicated. So basketball wise, for sure, get in there. I don't have an opinion either way. I'm just personally, I'm not. If you see me not outwardly celebrating, it's not because I don't enjoy it. It's just I genuinely don't know how I feel overall with everything together.
That is totally fair, and I think that a lot of times we have complicated relationships with, people that remember when those 3 hours where D Wade was almost canceled for the Nick Cannon thing.
I don't remember that.
For the Nick Cannon and the weird Jewish anti-Semitic thing, and then Dwayne tweeted, "I stand with Nick Cannon," and everyone's like, "Please say psych." And then D Wade, kind of erased and went on an apology tour. He's like, "Whoa, I didn't know all that. Nick Cannon was my homie." We were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, but generally speaking, you are right. Cancel culture is not a real thing.
It's not. It's not.
People have their fans, and people only do that stuff with guys they already don't like, and so
it's a lot of it's performative too. Like it's just everybody just gets angry to get angry, and then again, Louis C.K. is doing comedy tours, and Dave Chappelle's a millionaire.
And people forget.
Yeah.
Nobody has the bandwidth to like keep up with all that stuff and stay mad at everybody. So
I thought
I personally don't pay attention to stuff.
One thing I thought was interesting on cancel culture was Ludwig, who's a YouTuber. I don't really watch Ludwig, but I'm a Super Smash Brothers Melee player, and Ludwig is OG Smash community. But I saw that he had a video, and I watched it on like where are canceled YouTubers now, and to see like how real cancel culture is. So he would like look at their channel prior to being canceled and post being canceled, and like a lot of them took a hit, but like nobody really. They're all still fucking rich and getting millions of views. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not... You go from 15 million to, like, 8 million, right? And it's... Unless you're Jenna Marbles.
it aligns with the news cycle, and so once something comes up,
Yeah.
you kind of forget about it, and then it's what it is.
But I do think that you said it
congratulations
best.
to Tim Hardaway.
No, you said it best though. You said it best. It's not our place
Yeah.
to say. I'm regurgitating stuff I've heard from
Yeah.
people. But that's absolutely correct. It is weird to celebrate people like that. I agree, but you know, it's always tough. But you know, it is in the news. We just talk about it. You know, he is obviously a Heat guy that people. Is he still coach? He was coaching in Detroit, wasn't he? I don't know where he is now.
I think he's still working. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, but yeah. So Tim's in. Heat. You know, lots of Hall of Famers in the rafters. Hopefully, D Wade, a dude that we can all universally say is the fucking greatest.
Yeah. So his last season was 19. So it's 5 years. So 3 years left.
Can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so happy that I didn't get to go to his last game. I always said I always told myself I would go to every ring night. I went to the 2 big 3 ones. I went to his last game. I didn't get to go to the game. I went to the game that he came back as a Bull. I still remember that was the day after Trump got elected. It was such a weird fucking day. He was the only source of joy I had that day. I went to the last game in Miami when they played Philly, and he just. Do you remember that game? I know that I don't know why we're talking. I don't know why we're talking about it, but
yeah, I was at a bar. They were just out there just having fun.
Everybody was just, the Sixers were like, yeah, Dwayne, you could do whatever you want on the basketball court right now. Jimmy's like not even playing defense. It's like, nah, legend. When he hit the shot against the Warriors, Steph and Draymond are like, nah, that's legend shit. Who cares? I don't do you care that you lost? Nah, that was a legend. I don't care. I fucking love D-Wade, man.
Man,
new.
I miss seeing that guy play.
Bro, me too. New fans are lucky that they didn't get like insufferable me during Dwayne Wade era, because I just fucking one of my greatest favorite people in the world. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. As always, this is always fun to do, especially with you, Kenny. Remember everything I said at the top. You know, watch party April 10th, watch party, Duffy's North Miami. Join us. It's Alf's birthday bash celebration plus Heat Magics. Nothing says festivities like Heat Magic, folks. Nothing. You know, and Heaven Fournier is not even there anymore. It's not even the Magic. Terrence Ross still is there, though. So, you know, it's still a Heat Magic game. Make sure to come out to that. Huh?
So no Fournier, no Vooch.
The Heat are probably gonna sit. The Heat might have clinched already because they have like a lot of tiebreakers. Yeah. So they may sit everybody. So we may get like a Strus Yurtapalooza game. Could you imagine how fun that would be? You get like Depot, Strus. It's gonna be like the Henry Walker and Zoran game, bro. Henry Walker and Orlando game is still fucking nuts. I love last game of the season nonsense. It's going to be fun. Come out with us if you want. And that's going to be a Heat game where probably there's not going to be a lot of stakes. Or maybe there's a lot of stakes. Who knows? Could go either way, as the great Dos Minutos says. Subscribe to the Deuces. I love you guys. We will see you on Saturday. Off for a day. I think we all need that. It's been an emotional Heat week. We're off Saturday. We're on Saturday for Heat Bulls. Pre and post show. WAP and Hot. We'll see you then. We love y'all. Peace.